this isn't a candidate speech, and I'm honored to introduce David Leon Zink, who's also running for Congress. David Leon Zink, he's a board member of many of the boards working on Rebuilding Paradise, a resident of Magalia, and an artist and business consultant.
I want to thank Max for inviting me to speak with you all today. He's a fine candidate for Congress. As I went walking that North State Highway, someone said boldly, "This flag flies my way." I stood on the other side, and those stars and stripes flew my way too. Yeah, this flag was made for you and me. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Those are the opening words of our Constitution. We're a nation of laws. Those words began our country. A democratic republic made up of states that are united together. We're so committed to we the people that the first institution described in the Constitution is the U.S. House of Representatives. The root word of representative is to represent, to act or speak on behalf of another. And that requires listening. Listening to us, to all of us. Our representative in Congress is Doug LaMalfa. I knew Doug. He and I were classmates, beginning in Mrs. Cook's 5th grade class at Stanford Avenue School in Orville, and continuing on through the middle of high school. He was a good kid. I liked him. And you'll remember the campaign slogan he ran on when he was running for Congress the first time. He's one of us. He was, and he is, one of us. And he won us over. And we the people invited him to serve us in Washington, D.C. As an incoming freshman, he took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. We the people. And when asked by CNN what mark he'd like to leave on Congress, he said that he'd work in a bipartisan spirit to get things done. But then, with many in our country, he tuned into the biased news media that knows how to exploit agitation and discontent and grievance for profit. And he began to represent we, the political party. And he tuned the rest of us out. Officials across the country called the 2020 election the most secure in modern history. But Doug would not believe them. He amplified baseless claims of election fraud, and then through public comments recklessly began to undermine faith in the integrity of election workers, of election officials in other states, and even on the federal courts, going so far as to encourage the outgoing president to keep fighting the certified results of his loss. Doug broke no laws, but he broke faith with us, we the people. To this day, he has not acknowledged the link between his undermining our faith in our government and the violence unleashed on our nation's capital 1 year ago. Doug condemned the violence, but supported the reasoning for it. And on January 13 of last year, addressing the House of Representatives, Doug wielded the language of derision, repugnance and disgust against his colleagues, demonstrating a divided America for the world to see. It's painful to say these things about an old schoolmate, an old friend, someone I grew up with, but we have to tell the truth. We needed him to tamp down the vitriol. We needed him to demonstrate respect for our institutions of government. I call on Doug and every member of Congress to tamp down the rhetoric, to leave behind the language of hyper-partisanship and return to the language of respect. If you believe in we the people, the Constitution of the United States, then you owe your fellow citizen the respect that document relies on. Return our country to a common country, united under the promise and principles of our Constitution. And you do that by treating each other with respect. Struggle. Go after the issues of the day with all your might. But don't forget, those people get a vote too. One country under God, indivisible, with liberty for all. This flag was made for you and me.